My spouse has been acting oddly for the past few weeks, and it's got me concerned that something's not right. We've been married for 5 years, together for 7, and I've never seen her behave this way before. I'm not the jealous or suspicious type, so the fact that I'm even typing this out makes me uneasy. It's a bunch of small things adding up. She's suddenly become very guarded with her phone, which is new. She's also been hitting the gym much more frequently than before. About 4 months ago, she hired a personal trainer to help her get fit, and I was supportive at first. But now she's spending extra hours at the gym almost every other day, which seems excessive. When I casually ask about her training or how it's going, she gives vague answers like, "It's fine," or "I'm just tired," then quickly changes the subject. It feels off. On top of that, her best friend, let's call her Sarah, has been acting strange around me too. Sarah is usually chatty and warm when she's at our place, but lately she avoids eye contact and seems jittery. For instance, a few days ago, I came home and found my wife and Sarah whispering in the kitchen. The moment I walked in, they both froze, looking guilty, and stopped talking. My wife flashed a fake smile and said, "Oh, hi. Just girl talk?" Sarah barely mumbled a greeting before rushing out. It was awkward. Later, I asked my wife why Sarah left so abruptly. She laughed it off, saying I startled Sarah by coming in quietly and that they were discussing a private matter, a mutual friend's unexpected pregnancy that they didn't want me to overhear. It felt like a flimsy excuse. Since then, I've had a bad gut feeling. My wife's been a bit distant too, not drastically, but enough for me to notice. She's also been telling small lies about random things. For example, she said she was at the store for an hour one evening, but when I pointed out our usual store closes early on Sundays, she backtracked, saying she went to a different one. These little inconsistencies, which never happened before, are piling up. I haven't confronted her directly because I lack solid proof, and I don't want to seem like an insecure jerk. I did ask her gently if she's okay, noting she seems stressed or distracted. She brushed it off, saying I'm imagining things and that she's just exhausted from work and her workouts. She actually seemed annoyed that I asked, which made me feel guilty but also more suspicious. Her reaction was oddly defensive for a simple check-in, my gut's telling me something's wrong. I'm even wondering if I did something to upset her or if she's hiding something from me. Sarah's behavior is especially troubling. I considered the possibility they're planning a surprise, like a party, but there's no big event coming up, and their vibe wasn't celebratory. It felt tense and secretive. I could be overanalyzing, but I can't shake this feeling that I'm missing something major. Has anyone dealt with a partner suddenly acting secretive like this? Would it be a bad idea to talk to Sarah privately to get some clarity? I just want to understand what's going on. Any advice would be helpful because this is eating me up, and I don't want to accuse my wife of something wild if I'm wrong. Update 1, I got my answer, and it's the worst possible outcome. Yesterday, Sarah showed up at my door out of the blue, looking distraught. She started apologizing profusely before I even knew why. I invited her in and got her to explain. She revealed that my wife has been having an affair with her trainer, Mike, for the past 4 months, and Sarah has been covering for her the whole time. I was floored, struggling to process it. I felt a mix of rage and devastation as Sarah, trembling, spilled everything. She said her husband found out she was lying for my wife and gave her an ultimatum. Tell me the truth or he'd do it himself, and he'd leave her if she didn't. That's why she came clean. Her own marriage was at stake. Sarah explained that my wife and Mike started with standard training sessions, but it soon turned into flirting, then a full-on affair. It's been going on for months, hidden behind gym time or girls' nights. Every time my wife said she was with Sarah, she was likely with Mike, and Sarah even helped by texting me from my wife's phone to keep up the lie. For example, that spa weekend my wife supposedly took with Sarah, she was actually away with Mike. That night I caught them whispering in the kitchen. Sarah said they were arguing. She'd been urging my wife to end the affair or confess, but my wife refused, putting Sarah in a terrible spot, betray her friend or lie to me. Sarah brought proof, printed texts between her and my wife about meeting Mike, plus a hotel email from that spa weekend with my wife's name on it. Seeing that evidence hit like a punch to the gut. I stayed calm while Sarah was there, though I was seething inside. I didn't lash out. She was already a mess, crying and apologizing for not telling me sooner. I told her I appreciated her honesty but needed her to leave so I could think. I said, "Go handle your own marriage now. I need space." She left, still apologizing. After she was gone, I broke down, overwhelmed by betrayal and grief. I sat on the couch, sobbing, feeling like my world had collapsed. Eventually, I pulled myself together to plan my next steps. My wife came home an hour later, acting normal, even kissing me like nothing was wrong. It was agonizing to pretend everything was fine, but I knew confronting her while I was that raw would be a disaster. So I waited until the next day. I barely slept that night, lying awake next to her as she slept peacefully. It was torture. I'll post another update soon with what happened next as I'm hitting the word limit. Update 2, I confronted my wife last night, and it was a total train wreck. I'd planned what to say all day, trying to stay composed, but once I started, my calm went out the window. I told her I knew about her affair with Mike and demanded the truth. She immediately denied it, acting confused, saying, "What are you even talking about?" I cut her off, saying, "Stop it. Sarah told me everything. I know you've been with Mike." Her face changed, first pale, then teary, then angry. She lashed out at Sarah, calling her a jealous liar who made it all up to ruin our marriage. She even said I was foolish for believing Sarah over her. It was chaotic. I showed her the evidence, texts, the hotel email, but she refused to look, insisting they were fake or misunderstood. She claimed the hotel was for a romantic trip she helped Sarah plan for Sarah's husband, and Mike's name on it was because he was someone else's plus one. It was a ridiculous, desperate lie. I was so angry I could barely see straight. I kept pushing her to stop lying, but she doubled down, swearing on her family that she never cheated. She said Mike was just her trainer, and any extra time was about fitness goals. Then she flipped it, accusing me of betraying her by doubting her and choosing Sarah's word over hers. She said, "After all we've been through, you think I'd do this? You think that little of me?" It was pure manipulation, trying to make me the villain. We went in circles for what felt like forever. At one point, I was so frustrated I slammed my fist into the door frame, stupid move, my hands still sore. That startled her and she went quiet for a moment. I said, "This is tearing us apart. Just tell me the truth." But she kept denying it, then switched to begging, saying I was wrong and to trust her. It was like she was throwing every tactic at me, anger, tears, guilt, to avoid accountability. Finally, I'd had enough. I told her, "If you won't tell me the truth, I'll go to Mike and get it from him." That stopped her cold. She panicked, stammering that it was unnecessary, that Mike had nothing to do with it. I said, "If you're telling the truth, you shouldn't care if I talk to him." She kept saying I'd embarrass us both by confronting him. I told her I didn't believe her and would get answers one way or another. After that, she broke down crying again and stormed into the guest room, slamming the door. I didn't follow. I spent the night on the couch, too wired to sleep, my mind racing. By morning, I was drained but still furious. As she left for work, or wherever, I reminded her I was going to talk to Mike. She just shook her head and walked out. I was planning to go to the gym later to confront him, but I'll update again soon because of the word limit. Update 3, I didn't even have to track down Mike. A couple of hours after my wife left, she came back home, probably skipping work because she never returns that early. She looked wrecked, standing in the doorway like she didn't know how to begin. Then she sat down and finally confessed. At first, she tried to minimize it, saying she and Mike only got too close and kissed a few times. I nearly laughed at the absurdity. I said, "We're way past that, tell me the truth." So she admitted they'd slept together but claimed it was only twice and meant nothing. I told her I knew it was a months-long affair and to stop lying. That broke her. She started sobbing and spilled everything. She confirmed the affair started shortly after she began training with Mike about 4 months ago. They'd meet up whenever they could, at his place, hotels, even once in his car in a parking lot, which was a detail I didn't need. Anytime she said she was with Sarah or out alone, she was likely with him. It wasn't just physical either. She admitted she developed feelings for him. She said she got caught up, felt neglected by me, and craved the attention Mike gave her. She tried to justify it with feeling unseen or unwanted, which felt like a slap in the face. It was like she was blaming me while also saying it wasn't my fault. I asked if she paid for anything, and she admitted she'd been using our money on him. Hotel rooms, dinners, gifts like an expensive smartwatch she'd lied about buying for herself, even loans for his financial problems. Hearing she'd funneled our money to this guy made my blood boil. She was a mess, crying and begging for forgiveness, saying she'd do anything, counseling, cutting contact with Mike, whatever I wanted. She got on her knees, grabbing my hand, pleading for another chance. I pulled away and told her to stop. By then I was oddly calm, almost numb. I asked if she loved him. She swore she didn't, that it was just infatuation and stupidity, and she never wanted to leave me. She said the guilt was killing her, though her earlier lies suggested otherwise. I told her I needed space and that she should leave the house for now. She panicked, asking where she'd go and if this was the end. I suggested her parents' or sister's place but didn't answer about our future. I didn't know yet. I just needed her gone. She packed a bag, still crying, and left. After she was gone, I broke down, crying harder than I ever have. It was raw betrayal, anger, all of it. Then I went into action mode. I called my brother, who came over quickly. He told our parents, who started calling, but I wasn't ready to talk beyond texting that I was okay. My brother got me out of the house for some air, which helped. I barely slept that night, but his presence kept me sane. The next day, I called a locksmith to change the locks and set up meetings with 2 divorce lawyers. I'm almost certain I want a divorce, but I need to understand the process, especially with her infidelity. We don't have kids and rent our place, so splitting assets should be straightforward, but I moved half our joint savings to a new account in my name to protect it. I'll let the lawyer figure out what's fair. I've barely responded to my wife's texts, endless apologies and promises to wait for me. I'm not sure what to say. She wants to fix this, but I can't see how. I'll update again once I have more clarity. Update 4, it's been 2 weeks since the confrontation, and I want to wrap up with where things stand. I've filed for divorce. I met with a lawyer, got the papers prepared, and had my wife served recently. I documented all the evidence, texts, emails. Though in a no-fault state, it's not legally required, but I wanted it on record. She didn't handle being served well. She showed up at the house soon after, distraught and begging to talk. I let her in, partly to stay civil, partly curious about what she'd say now that she couldn't hide anymore. She spent an hour crying, apologizing, and making promises, counseling, a post-nup full access to her phone, even suggesting I could even the score by sleeping with someone else, which I shut down immediately. That was a low point. I listened but stayed detached. I've done my grieving and raging. I told her calmly that I'm moving forward with the divorce because our trust is irreparably broken. I said I don't hate her but can't forgive her or trust her again. She kept saying she'd be lost without me, that I'm her everything. It was almost pitiful, but I felt no sympathy. I stayed firm, saying there's no way back. Eventually, I had to ask her to leave because the conversation was pointless. She's been texting since, long apologies, nostalgic memories. But I either ignore them or reply that nothing's changed. I haven't seen her since, and we're communicating through lawyers. She's staying with her parents, I think. My family and friends have been amazing. My mom wanted to confront her, but I told her to stay out of it. Friends have kept me busy, inviting me out or staying over so I'm not alone. I started therapy to process the anger and pain, which is helping slowly. I also talked with Sarah's husband, who forced the truth out. We met for drinks and bonded over this mess. He's upset with my wife for involving Sarah and with Sarah for going along with it, but they're in counseling, trying to rebuild. He hasn't decided on divorce, but said Sarah's doing everything to make amends, like giving him full access to her communications. I told him I respect his choice. Everyone's different. He said Sarah wants to apologize again, but is giving me space. I'm not angry at her anymore. She was in a tough spot and eventually did right by me. I told him to tell her I'm not holding a grudge. As for Mike, I haven't confronted him and don't plan to. Part of me wanted to, but he's not worth the trouble. I doubt he and my wife will end up together, especially now that she's cut ties and he's just a gym trainer. Their future isn't my concern. I'm focusing on moving forward. The divorce is in progress, my wife's out of the house, and I'm rebuilding. It still hurts. Some days I'm angry, others sad, but I'm feeling more like myself each day. Ending the marriage is the right call. The betrayal was too much. I'm leaning on my support system, staying busy with work and hobbies and taking care of myself. Healing will take time, but I'll get there. Thanks to everyone who read this and offered advice or support. When I first posted, I never imagined it would unfold like this. But the encouragement, even from strangers, has helped me through some dark moments.